what's something that lawyers should think about doing that might not pay off immediately, but could bring some terrific long-term results? Like, what are you guys seeing that is a great investment for the future, but lawyers aren't necessarily like ready to write the check yet?
So two things, like lawyers never raise their prices. I talked to lawyers who were still charging like $100, $120 an hour, which is just insane to me in 2023. Like that's bonkers. And if you look statistically, like most law firm rates don't keep up with inflation. So every year your buying power goes down. So as a lawyer, even if like the problem that lawyers have with this, every time I talk to them, they're like, okay, yeah, you're right. I should raise my rates, but my rates are so low. What do? I have to raise them by like $150 to get to market. And I'm like, why? Like just do that over the course of time. So you bill like, and I'll go through the math with them. I'll like, you build 2,000 hours a year, right? You raise your rates by $25 an hour. You just made another $50,000 like magic. It just appeared out of the sky. And the other thing I'll say is that when you're looking at raising your rates, or I should say revising your rates, look at different pricing models. So consumers are not necessarily thrilled with hourly billing anymore because it promotes inefficiency. They know that. They walk by law office, they're like, oh, that dude has a convertible. I probably paid for that. And every lawyer you see on TV is like slick money grubbing, right? That's the notion that people have about attorneys. So think about flat fees, think about evergreen retainers, think about these alternate ways that you can bill your clients and be thoughtful about that. And don't be like, all right, I'm going to put Band-Aid on this. I'm going to double my rates tomorrow. Spend like a couple of quarters or a year looking at data, like I said before, figuring out what your clients want, maybe even interviewing some clients. I tell people to do this too, and figure out a rate structure that works that's going to get you value and that's also going to be useful to the client as well. I have found personally that the law firms I work with, not even intentionally, like they're just trying to set a fair rate for their clients. They end up making more when they move to something like a flat fee versus when they do billable hours.
I would agree with all of that. And I'd add in that the kind of ties back to something you said, Annette. Invest in learning and applying the discipline of creating an actual strategic plan for your business. And it's very concrete. It's not woo-woo. It's where are you now? Where do you want to go? And how do you get there? What are your strengths and weaknesses? What do you stand for? How do you engage your employees? It's all very practical. People don't engage in it because they don't have time. And then they realize they get to 50 or 60. And I see this happening with law firms. It's a big problem. If they don't have a plan of how they're going to transition to the next level of leadership, their star associates and partners will leave and form their own firm. They will not. The days of being loyal to the elder lawyer and then hoping the chips fall where they may. So we're getting all these law firms that are coming right up to the brink, and then they're wondering, they're not keeping their people happy. They will form their cabals. They will go off and form their own firm. And then here's this person that's built this firm left holding the bag. And it's not necessary with some basic, get somebody who knows how to do strategic planning for law firms and invest in that a little bit at a time. And it's something you have to do. You can't buy it. You can buy somebody to help you with it. But when you start thinking strategically, you'll get that long-term benefit, but you'll also learn things you can do to start making things better right now. And if you don't do that, then you've built yourself a job. You haven't built yourself a practice or a business.
I would totally agree with that, Doug. And also what Jared said as well. There has to be no one becomes an Olympic athlete or an astronaut or whatever you're going to become, whatever you're going to be successful at, right? Nobody's just like, hey, wow, I guess I'm in the Olympics. I don't know how that happened. Like, there was a plan that was very strategically created by experts and professionals that this person followed, right? So as what I really want law firm, especially smaller and medium-sized law firm owners to really hear right now is that there are people like Doug, there are people like Jared out there that have the expertise to help you get to where you want to be, wherever that, figure out where that is first, and then help you get there so that you don't get to 50, 60 years old and you don't like, you've been on this boat, but you don't like where you ended up. It's not where you had thought the boat was sailing to. So you have to be very, and I don't really like this word, but because it's overused, but it's intentional, right? And that's a little woo woo. And I don't mean for it to be, because I'm not woo woo at all, right? Like, I'm very rubber hits the road, but you have to, maybe strategic is a better word than intentional, but you have to be very strategic. Otherwise, it's funny because my post today, ironically, on social media was about Survivor. And I said, nobody got to the end of Survivor by chance, right? Now, everybody's strategy to get to the end of Survivor, to be the winner of Survivor, was different, right? Everybody had a bit of a different strategy. So as a law firm owner, you don't need to duplicate, somebody else's Survivor strategy. You have to figure out where you want to be, how you want to get there, and then get people who have the expertise and the knowledge to get to ensure your success, whatever that looks like to you.